What's up everybody, I'm Luke Duncan and welcome back to the Traveling Circus, and today is a very special video for me for a lot of different reasons. And if you pay attention at all, you listen to the podcast, you watch my craziness on here or social media, you're well aware of the fact that I'm working with a company called BaitWrx.com. They were new to partner with me this year. Fantastic people and a great online tackle retailer. They also have a fantastic store if you're ever in the Springfield, Missouri area, just absolutely wall-to-wall loaded with tackle. They also manufacture a lot of their own tackle through their company called Valor Baits. So back earlier this year, they reached out to me and wanted me to help them design some baits. And that was one of the main reasons that I signed up with BaitWrx. Their capability to do that is awesome, and I've got to dabble a little bit in that with some of the companies I've worked with over the years, but this is the first time I'm getting to stamp my name on a bait, and I can't even believe I'm getting to say that today. But I have been designing a jig with them since way back earlier this year. We are finally getting the prototype skirts in. It's got a custom Trokar hook in it that we've been working on with the folks at Eagle Claw, because obviously I've worked with them for many moons now, and I wanted them to be a part of this project as well. So very excited to announce the LOB Power Finesse Jig. Let's get into some dirty details. The bass are as hungry. There we go, first one. That's pretty cool, not gonna lie guys. Small one. That's pretty cool. First one on the LOB. So I'm obviously very excited about getting to work with BaitWrx and design my own lure for several reasons, but one of the main ones is I'm just a jig fishing fanatic, man. I love always having a jig tied on no matter where I'm at in the country, and going all the way back to like me being a 12-year-old, the first big bass I can ever remember catching on the Tennessee River was on a jig. So I've always really leaned heavily on some form of jig. In the last few years, I've really gotten into finesse jigs, say the last 6 or 8 years. The main problem I see with them is hookup ratio. It's getting the fish out of heavy cover, because a lot of times the place you're gonna throw a jig is not really set up for a finesse jig, because you got to throw them on 12-pound line. You know, if you go heavier, which I tend to do to try to get those fish out, you're going to flex the hook, you're going to straighten it out. So it's just a really bad situation. But you run into these scenarios where you need to downsize your jig a lot of the time, whether it's pressured fish, highly pressured fisheries, tournament situations. You know, you're fishing a multi-day tournament, you're a couple days in, that bite starts to really toughen up, and you might not be able to catch them on a jig as big as your hand. So you need to downsize. But for me, I like to be able to throw it on 15, 17, 20-pound line. What we did with this jig, working with Eagle Claw Trokar, is we put a 3/0 custom-built Trokar hook in this. That's a meat hook, man. It's not going to flex whenever you're using it on bigger line, bigger rods, like a 7.2 heavy or medium heavy jig rod. It's going to get those fish out of cover. That was the first thing I wanted to do. I wanted it to be really small, but I also wanted it to have backbone. So that's what it's got, is the 3/0 Trokar. We designed it with a double-edged sword there, little trailer keeper that's going to hold your trailers on when you're skipping docks, when you're skipping under overhangs, things like that, smacking off of bluff walls. The paint job was very important to me. I've thrown a lot of jigs from a lot of companies and the paint just comes off immediately. This, on the prototypes that we have made, you can hit it with a hammer. Like, I have been absolutely blown away at how the paint job has held up on these so far. Horizontal line tie was very important to me. That's what I just prefer that. You could talk to 50 different fishermen, they'll tell you 50 different things as far as line ties go, but a lot of the vertical ones I feel like are a lot hangier and get you snagged up way more than they should. A heavy duty weed guard, that was very important to me for a lot of the places you throw it. You know, I throw finesse jigs around boat docks a ton, which are always gonna have brush around them a lot of times. That's where you're gonna get your bites, and I don't wanna be snagged up all the time and key pieces of cover. So good weed guard on this thing with the Trokar hook. The coolest thing to me that we were able to pull off with this jig is, I'm calling it finer than frog hair. It's a very small diameter skirt but a full skirt. So it's a 60 strand, almost, I'll call it a mini skirt, right? Just a little, very fine strand skirt. And the cool thing about it is it really breathes. I've thrown this in the pool, I've thrown it in the lake, and it really breathes well. But one of the things that it does that I really like is this thing, it'll draw in when it falls, and it makes the bait really small, a really bite-sized package. And dude, it gets bit by all sizes of fish, but it's going to absolutely get a reaction bite when it falls in those situations. You skip it way up under a boat dock, whatever, and it really allows that trailer, because I think a trailer is a huge part of a jig as well. It lets that trailer do its thing. So Finer Than Frog Hair skirt is going to be available in 6 colors. I'll take you through them. I've actually only got 5 here with me today, but I'm going to take you through those here in a second. But 2 sizes, 3/8 and half. I'm elated to get to do this. When I got my first bite on it, I can't even tell you the emotion that went through me, just because we've worked on this for a while now, and I'm very excited about it. So Power Finesse, the LOB, it's gonna get you lots of bites for sure. I got to do some testing. I'm gonna show y'all some of that footage. My truck is blown up right now in Orlando, Florida. If you keep up with the podcast, you've probably seen that, or you keep up on social media, like I said at the first of the video. And I do not have my new Express yet, so I haven't been able to go get that. So I've been testing this thing. When we got in the prototype skirts, got in some of the heads from BaitWrx, I've been testing this at a local lake, a friend of mine's private lake. And you may be thinking, oh, private lake, well, of course you get bit. Well, this one gets a lot of pressure. It's hard to get bit, and I went at really strange times, like during the middle of the day, super hot, water temperature is almost 90 out there, and I just fished around a little flat bottom. I've done some fishing off the bank with it as well, just to see if I can get bit on it. The lake doesn't have a lot of big ones, as you'll see. You catch a 3-pounder, you've done something out there these days. But lots of bites, man. I got lots of bites. Almost every one of them that I caught just had it choked. They smoked this thing around standing timber. Lake's got a little bit of grass. You'll see me kind of ripping it out of the grass a lot of times in this video, but definitely a bait you're going to want to have in your tackle box. It's going to be available this fall. I'm going to get you out of the water, show you some of the fish catches, and then I'm going to walk you through these colors. Let it run. Now that is what we like to see. Just freaking gone. Eight. Nice one. LOB, baby. So throughout this process, one of the absolute most fun things has been getting to design these skirts. I sat down at my kitchen table with a huge box full of regular skirt material and tons of colors. I didn't even know some of the colors they made out there. And I designed 6 colors. We're missing one right now, but 6 colors. And when I sent it to BaitWrx, they were in bigger skirt material. I said, this is what I want, and the finer than frog hair. And they were able to mimic my hand-tied skirts perfectly. So if it had 3 strands of blue crawl in it, 4 strands of green pumpkin, that's what it's got. So here we go. I'm going to take you through them individually and kind of talk you through why I like it and what it's going to be good for. The first one up is one of my all-time favorite colors. I've thrown this on about every jig that I've ever done, but I put a little spin on it. But this is called Hot Pocket. And the reason is it's going to make your pockets hot with that money because it's a fish catcher. It's got some blue crawl in it, which is one of my favorite skirt colors ever. It's got some green pumpkin, and it's got some light pumpkin in it as well. So going to come with a green pumpkin head, green pumpkin weed guard on that. Hot Pocket. It's going to be perfect with a little minnow scrub in that blue crawl color, green pumpkin, Zoom Super Chunk Junior, something like that. Hot Pocket. For all you folks out there fishing that little bit clearer water, you know, maybe you're around the Ozarks, Table Rock, maybe you're, you know, in Arkansas, fishing Smith Lake in Alabama, wherever the case is, this is Watermelon Crawl, and it's kind of a watermelon candy-ish skirt in that finer than frog hair. It's going to come with a black head and a black weed guard. I don't throw watermelon a ton, but I know it's something that works in a lot of parts of the country that I have been to before. So we wanted to have that in the lineup for the Power Finesse. Watermelon Crawl. Got some little bit of red flake in there, a little bit of purple, a little bit of green, but just a watermelon seed skirt. That is going to be a fish catcher in a lot of parts of the country. Third in the lineup is one of my favorite colors. I was super excited about this one when I tied this one up. And I'm calling this one LBL 420, but it mimics that California 420 soft plastic color that I love in so many different types of situations. Got the red flake in there. It's got some black strands on the skirt. Got that green pumpkin in there. And this one is going to get bit. I've not seen a lot of jigs like that out there, in my opinion, especially in this compact size like this with this Power Finesse. So LBL 420. This one is your basic brown and orange. We're calling it Cold Water Crawl. And I didn't want just a ton of orange in it. So you can see not just overwhelmed with the orange, but it's got that old school brown to it. Gonna put that one on the brown head, brown weed guard. That one's gonna get bit in those cold water months when that water is less than 55 degrees or if it gets a little dirty. Cold Water Crawl, gonna look good with a green pumpkin chunk on it. Dip those tails, a little bit of orange. Cold Water Crawl, gonna catch bigs. I call this one Spot Check. One of my favorite colors to throw for spotted bass is a green pumpkin with some green flake or some blue flake in it. They always seem to like that in soft plastic. So this is like a light green pumpkin skirt with green flake, green pumpkin head, green pumpkin weed guard. And I have done a lot of testing with this color, and it flat gets bit with a green pumpkin minnow scrub on it or a green pumpkin super chunk. Absolutely is going to catch them. Spot Check. It's going to get them spots. The sixth and final color is Black and Blue Will Pay You. It's going to be black with just a little bit of blue. I did have one prototype of it. I actually gave it to a friend of mine that wanted to try it in a night fishing tournament the other night, and he was able to catch a couple bigs on it. So he's actually got that thing on lockdown right now, so I don't have it with me. I was only able to get a couple of prototype skirts in so far, and we've approved them, and they are being manufactured right now. So we look forward to being able to bring this thing to market late this fall, exclusively at BaitWrx.com. Like I said, 6 colors, 2 sizes. I really think that you guys are going to enjoy fishing with the LOB, getting lots of bites with it. And you know, I want to thank BaitWrx for giving me the opportunity to do this. It's been a fun process getting to kind of custom pick everything that I wanted to do with the LOB Power Finesse Jig. Before I go, I want to talk real quick just about trailer options. I know I threw a few of them up there, but something that I have been working on through the prototype phases is just what type trailers should I suggest when you do get this. And I'll do more videos on this as we get closer to the launch and after the launch as well. But something I've really been playing with that I ordered from BaitWrx the other day, 3.5-inch net bait Paca Slim. So this is a bait really made for punching mats. It's not necessarily a jig trailer. Been catching a ton of fish on the back of the LOB with the little net bait Paca Slim. This is something, the Strike King Rage Crawl, the small one, I have thrown this a ton over the years on the back of my jig. I love that blue crawl color with anything kind of green pumpkinish. Of course, their black and blue is great. They've got watermelon, they got hard candy. They got so many different colors out there that you can match to these colors of the jig. But this has performed absolutely outstanding. I love the way it looks when the jig is falling. And then these are with the flapping legs on those trailers. I really like those later in the year when the water gets above, you know, mid-50s, whatever. I'm going to go to something that moves a little bit more. Also been throwing a twin tail grub on it a little bit. And then for cold weather, cold water, this is my #1 favorite finesse jig trailer of all time, and that's a Zoom Super Chunk Junior. So it's gonna really give you that finesse package, but it gets big bites. So been throwing it. I love the way it falls with this as well. I actually thread it up on the jig. I don't just hook it right through the meat there, but Zoom Super Chunk Junior is gonna be something that you're gonna wanna make sure you have. When you get on BaitWrx.com, you can use code Duncan-10 to get anything on there, 10% off. Let them know that you're a subscriber to the channel, you're a low lifer, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel here, Luke Duncan's Traveling Circus, if you're not. And I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. I'll see y'all next time.